Hi there, hello, and welcome to Base Camp. I'm Pastor Pat, and okay, come on, Pat, you can do this. Deep breath. I'm Pastor Pat, and I'm a little distracted right now. You might not have noticed, but there's some loud noises coming from the other room, and not just any loud noises, but very lion-ish loud noises. I know I come across as brave and courageous and all that, but I have a confession to make. I have a phobia. A phobia is a really strong fear, and my phobia is of being trapped in a room that has lions in it. Or lion. It's not really number specific. Most of the time, this is a phobia that really doesn't affect my everyday life. But today, Pastor Lance, the lead pastor here at Summit Church, has asked me to get something out of that room over there. And it definitely sounds like there's a lion in it. I know I need to be obedient to Pastor Lance. I mean, after all, he is my boss, and I should trust that he knows what he's talking about. But lions! You know, this reminds me of somebody I've read about in the Bible. I think I'll tell you about him. And no, I'm not just stalling because I don't want to go in the lion room. Well, not just stalling. Anyway, it's about a guy by the name of Daniel. Now, Daniel was an Israelite who lived during the time of the Persian Empire. Because of his faithfulness to God, integrity, and hard work, he had been promoted by the emperor, Darius, to be one of the three main overseers of the entire empire. And now, Darius wanted to put him over the whole thing. As you can imagine, this did not sit well with the other officials, and they wanted to get rid of Daniel. The officials tried to find some wrongdoing that they could accuse Daniel of, but he was too upstanding and honest. They finally decided that if they were ever going to be able to trip him up, it would have to be something to do with his faithfulness to God. So that's what they went with. They arranged a meeting with Darius and told him that everyone agreed that a law should be passed that for the next month, people would not be allowed to pray to anyone but him. And if someone got caught praying to someone else, they would be thrown into the lion's den. Darius, being your typical emperor, thought that sounded like a good idea. Furthermore, they convinced him to put it into writing so that the law could not be changed, not even by him. Daniel faced a dilemma. Every follower of God knows that they should never pray to anyone but God. So that was a no-brainer for him. But could he go a whole month and simply not pray? Or maybe pray but only do it in secret? I mean, no one has to know, right? But what about his integrity? And could he really hide his relationship with God? Daniel knew that it was because of his faithfulness to God, even when it was hard and looked like it would cost him everything, maybe even his life, that God had blessed him with all that he had. No. He would continue to honor God publicly as he always had before, and trust that whatever happened, the Lord would see him through it. Even if it meant being eaten by lions. Daniel had always gone to an upstairs window and prayed in the open 3 times a day, and that's what he continued to do now. Of course, his enemies were watching and waiting, and as soon as he prayed, they pounced, arresting him and bringing him before Darius. Now, Daniel was Darius's friend, and Darius did everything he could to save him. But it was no use. The law was unchangeable, and even the emperor was powerless. At last the time came, and Daniel was led to the lion's den. King Darius was heartbroken, but there was nothing he could do. He told Daniel, "May your God, whom you serve continually, rescue you." With that, they threw Daniel in and placed a large stone over the entrance. The heartbroken king went up to his chambers, unable to eat or sleep all night. Daniel had been faithful to God, obedient, trusting, yet it led him to the lions. Had God abandoned him? Was it all for nothing? How could God allow something so horrible to happen to someone so devoted to him? Early the next morning, as soon as the sun began to rise, King Darius rushed to the lion's den. "Daniel, servant of the living God," he called, "has your God, whom you've served continually, been able to rescue you from the lions?" Imagine the king's surprise when he heard an answer. "May the king live forever! My God sent his angel, and he shut the mouths of the lions. They have not hurt me, because I was found innocent in his sight, nor have I ever done any wrong before you, your majesty." Daniel was safe. God had protected him. They immediately pulled him out and examined him. There wasn't a scratch on him, because he had trusted in God. King Darius wasn't very happy with the guys who had set Daniel up. He had them arrested and tossed them in with the lions, who promptly overpowered them and, I quote, crushed all their bones. Daniel, on the other hand, he had nothing but praise for. He issued a decree that everyone in the empire had to honor Daniel's God. Daniel himself was honored and prospered throughout Darius's reign, all because he had been faithful to God, even when it didn't look like a great idea. Being obedient to God doesn't mean that you won't face tough times, even scary times, but He will always be with us. Daniel didn't know God would shut the mouths of the lions, but he knew that whatever happened, he could trust God to do what was right. And because of that, Daniel got to experience a miracle. What's more, he got to be a walking and talking testimony to God's greatness, one that affected King Darius and the whole empire. It didn't look great for Daniel for a while there, but in the end, he was highly blessed. Oh boy. I know what I have to do. I don't know why Pastor Lance is sending me into a room that sounds like it has a lion in it, but I know him and I trust him. Yep. He's usually got a pretty good reason for the things he does. Furthermore, I do know that I can trust God. He'll take care of me. So I'm going to honor God and be obedient. I can't believe I'm doing this. Here goes. Here goes.